Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. My sound is good, which means I can get started. Yay. Okay. All right. So it's officially 1 o'clock. So I am going to go ahead and begin. And then, for anybody who wants to watch this, they can go ahead and get caught up on our channel with all the things that I'm going to go over. So, yes. Yeah. All right, so let's start with like my biggest pet peeve. And it's not only my pet peeve, but I think it's probably everyone's in the industry and probably going even further than that, probably every industry. And that is to please read. Okay. Even for myself, posts that I do, I posted, hey, that I was doing a live event and, people are contacting me. Hey, can you represent me? Well, in my post, it said that I'm a former agent. I am no longer an agent, so I don't represent anyone. And it's silly. It could be easily overlooked. I get it. We're all guilty of doing that. But, at the same time, it's so important to, make sure that you really pay attention and you really read. There's nothing that an agent hates more than when somebody, messages them about, something and it's not what they're looking for, or they just didn't read the post. So, that's probably like the number one is that, yeah, read, you know. Um, it's something that's so simple but it goes such a far and long way, just making sure that you do exactly what somebody is asking for. It saves agents a lot of time. Not only that, but if you send something or do something that, again, you didn't read the post and you send something to an agent, it just gets on their nerves. And then when you are looking for representation, they may ignore you because you didn't give them or do what it is that they're looking for. So make sure that you don't just scroll something. Actually, like, take 2 seconds, and like I said, we're all guilty of this, but take 2 minutes out of your time and go and read a post before you go and submit yourself. And that kind of furthers my talk into actually looking for representation. And by the way, guys, if you have questions about the industry and you want to ask me, definitely send me a message on here, and I will definitely, let's see, messages. Okay. Yeah, send me a message here. I'll send one. Hey, everyone. But if you have a topic or something that you want me to go over, definitely let me know. Okay, moving on to actually like submitting for an agency. So a couple things. One, you don't want to put yourself out there until you're actually ready to show that you can do the work. The entertainment business, just like any other business out there, it's a job. So you've got to know how to actually do the work first before you go and submit yourself. Because if somebody is going to look to take a chance on you and then you really don't know what you're doing and you go and mess up, well, that's going to be a problem because you might get dropped from that agency just because you're not ready to be there and you're over your head. Which is why, training, learning the business, having the right materials is like so important. And I can't emphasize that enough. That's why I started the Star Movement and left from being an agent, because I met so many people who didn't know the business. And by the way, if you don't know the business, make sure that you head to our website, TheStarMovement.com, and check out our classes. I have done 2 workshops on there. They're on demand. They're really inexpensive. And, on there, you can go and learn about agency protocol, contracts, releases, unions, all the things that you need to know so that you don't find yourself over your head. Because, you get into this business and you start working professionally, and yeah, you're going to sign a contract and it's going to be written in a bunch of lawyer mumble jumble. So you've got to know, what am I looking for in this contract? What should be in it? What shouldn't be in it? So if you haven't had the chance, pop over to our website. And it's a new website, just put it up. There right now are just those 2 on-demand classes. There's gonna be more, like, putting yourself on tape and other informational classes that are really, really helpful and necessary for any working professional out there. Um, but right now those are up and stuff. So definitely, you can go on and take a look for sure. But getting back to like even submitting for an agency. So if you send an agency, an email and you're like, hey, can you call me back? They're not going to call you back. Agents' lives are today for tomorrow. So, whatever jobs they're getting in for today, well, the auditions and things that need to go out to their talent is for tomorrow, which means that, they need to go ahead and get that stuff out as soon as possible. Which also means that, with that said, that yeah, they're not going to call you back. And if you're waiting for them to call you back, then you're not doing the right things on your end. And it's really important to know the right and proper steps for yourself. That is part of this industry. But, yeah, if you leave them a message, they're not calling you back. Again, agents have today to do everything that they need to, and it's for tomorrow. The auditions for their talent are tomorrow. So they don't have time to spend on things like that, which means that you need to do the right things for yourself. So that means, hey, checking out, with that agency, do they do open calls? If they do, what are they looking for in an open call? The other thing is, with an agency, do they have a place on their website, which a lot of them do, as to how to submit or instructions that say, hey, this is how you need to submit to this agency. Now, I can tell you, like right now in Florida, it's their season. So they are either not looking at talent because they're too slammed, or just the opposite. They might be looking at talent because they're so slammed and looking for something in particular. So it could really go either way at this time. But again, you don't want to submit yourself to an agency unless A, you have the proper materials. If you're an actor, do you have proper headshots? Do you have a proper resume? Is it written as an actor resume, not as a business resume? If you don't know the difference, you need to go seek out some help, and make sure that you know what that is, and make sure that you have, again, what an agency is going to be looking for. So that's the first thing. Um, you know, and again, if you don't have any training, you don't know how to slate yourself. You don't know how to do your job. This is the job. As a model, you're not just standing there. You need to be able to move for 12 hours. Can you? Or are you just jumping up and down and exhausted in 5 minutes? You have a job to do. You have to sell something. You're in advertising. That's what modeling is. So you've got to know how to do your job. If you don't know how to do your job, you need to learn. Again, that's why I do what I do, to help people to make sure that they do the right things. Now, in our business, there are lots of specifics. It is your job to do your homework, to train with the right people, to know and learn those specifics. If you don't know them, then again, it's going to make it really, really difficult to do your job. So, you want to make sure that you're getting that right training, and you're doing the right things for yourself to help yourself in the industry. As an actor, you got to know how to break down commercials. You've got to know how to break down a character, for scene study. These days you do this thing called putting yourself on tape a lot. You've got to know how to break that down. And if you don't know how to break that down, that's okay. I myself, I do audition prep. I do it with a lot of actors and help them to, work on their upcoming auditions. I may not be the one putting themselves on tape, but at least we're breaking down that character and they've got their body language down. They've got the character down. So at home, whoever is going to read with them, they're ready to go. So that's basically it. You don't want to submit yourself, and that goes for everything, not just agents. If I've got singers and dancers out there, same thing. If you think you're submitting yourself for Broadway, but you just are not at that level, you've got to know who you are, and you've got to be honest with yourself as to, what it is you can do. And, also, where are your holes? Meaning, what are the things that you need to work on to better yourself? It doesn't mean that don't try and don't go get experience, but if it's something that is going to hurt you, like for example, like I said, if you submit yourself to an agent, but you're not ready, when you are ready, that agent may remember you and you may not get that opportunity. So you don't want to do something too soon, before you're actually ready. As for, auditions, yeah, if it's a theater audition or a dance audition, a vocal audition, absolutely go to it. And here's the thing about auditions. When you haven't been to one in a while, those little butterflies inside, yeah, they come back extra strong. As a performer, you have to learn how to control those and actually use them to your advantage instead of having them take away from what you're doing. So it's really important that, and with proper training, you'll learn to take those butterflies and again, use it to enhance your performance, not take away. But when you haven't been to an audition for a minute, yeah, the butterflies come back. It's just because you're rusty. So yeah, go to an audition, go to it for experience so you know what to expect and what's going on and you have an idea how it all works. But like I said, if it's with an agent, I would say, if you're not really ready to work with that agent yet, don't go. you know um as for like I said, actors, singers, dancers, models, you got to know what you're doing. This is a business, so it's really important that you have a really good idea as to what you're doing. Okay, of my friends out there, I see you. Tell me, what questions do you have for the industry? What can I answer for you? That's why I'm doing this. And I've done these lots of times on Instagram before, and I know that they're helpful because it's a lot of information for people. And it's really important that people have the right information in the industry so that they make really good decisions. But those are some of my pet peeves. Read. It's important. It goes a long way. Two, make sure that again, you do your homework. It is your job, not an agency's, to educate you. An agency who's looking to work with you, they expect you to come in at this level and then take it to the next level. So they don't, agencies are not allowed to provide training. They're not allowed to sell pictures. They're not allowed to provide training. That's illegal. And with that said, yeah, that's why there's companies like mine, the Star Movement, to help you with these things and to help you, I'll help you get an agent when you're ready. But you got to be ready. I'm not going to put you out there and I'm not going to risk you as well as my reputation if you're not ready just because you want an agent. You got to put in the work and show that you can actually handle yourself. That's a big part of this. Remember, when you go to an audition, yeah, you've got to give your best, but you are going up against all your lookalikes out there. When you go to an audition, all of a sudden you realize, hey, I have a twin, I have a triplet, I have a quadruplet. You didn't know you had one, but at that audition, you find your lookalikes. So, it's so important that you be your best self, which means that, even when you're with an agent, you need to continue to go to class to keep those lights on and to, help make yourself better at what you're trying to do. Otherwise, yeah, you're not being the best of you. Even, your pictures. After a while, maybe you're booking and you're doing really great and you're with an agent, but you haven't been to class. You haven't had new headshots in a while, or, your model book needs to be updated. Clients come back and they're constantly looking and browsing, with an agency. So, they think, okay, this person's dated. They haven't updated themselves. They haven't, they don't have new headshots. They don't have new model looks. It's really important. I just had somebody come to me, looking for new headshots, and I haven't seen them in a minute. And hopefully they've had new headshots in between. But if not, and by the way, if you're looking for new pictures, go to hollycaputo.com. I will list that right here. You can browse my gallery on headshots and on model looks. But if you haven't gotten yourself some new marketing materials and you look totally different, again, you're hurting yourself. So, you do the work, you get with an agent, and even, once you get with an agent, that's just the beginning of a new chapter. That means from there, you've got to put in, the work, and you've got to continue your training and look to take it to the next level and make sure that your materials are good. Have those conversations with your agents. Um, Being with an agent, it's like any other relationship. If you don't keep it warm, and you don't, keep that relationship a relationship, they're going to forget about you and go on to somebody else. When an agency has an audition, it's not a free for all. They only have so many spots where they can submit people for a job, and then it's up to casting, which is also why it's so important to keep trying to better yourself and up your resume, because you are going up against other people. It's not the agent's job that says, okay, yeah, casting necessarily wants to see you for this. Sometimes casting is looking at your resume and thinking, okay, well, your resume doesn't show that you're ready for a role like this. And it doesn't mean that they're not willing to give you a chance, because maybe you do have the chops, but you just haven't been given that opportunity. But sometimes you're not getting that opportunity just because your resume shows that you haven't worked at that level. Like I said, nobody people aren't afraid of newbies. But at the same time, you got to show that you're ready. Which brings me to another topic. A lot of people in this industry think, all these materials and classes, well, somebody pays for it for me. No, it's like going to school for, anything else in life. This is your education. These are your materials. You're responsible for it. A doctor, they've got to go get their own stethoscope. They've got to pay for their own schooling unless they get a scholarship. So it's the same thing for you guys. You've got to put in the work. If you're a singer, and you're looking to work with a record label, you're going to continue in with development for a long time. They're not just going to, hey, okay, let's make a single. No, you've got to continue your voice training and your development and your look, and go with what the record label is looking for in marketing you and advertising you. And it might be a different direction that you thought, you were going in. So, these are all new chapters once you start working, at that level, but all these things too take time. This industry is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And that's really important to know. Because I meet people all the time and they're looking for instant gratification. How many classes do I need to get with an agent? Well, it doesn't work like that. You've got to show that you can do the work. How you could take a million classes, but you never practice. So I've had people do that. I've had people, I've got money I'll spend on class. That's great. But if you're not actually like doing the work and learning something so that you can take what you've learned in class and apply it outside, you're not doing yourself any justice. So, it's a tough industry. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. It's an amazing industry once you get working in it or you get on set. There's nothing better than filming something and knowing what it looked like when you film something and then seeing the final results on TV, on the big screen. I mean, that's the coolest thing, whether it's a commercial, a film, or TV. Even for theater, being on stage and doing a full show, there's nothing more gratifying as a singer, dancer, as after that show. So, that is something that totally, that's what we all work for to get there. When I was a performer back in the day, that's what I worked for. So yeah, and that's what continues, the want, the hunger to want to continue and move on, and stay in this industry and want more of it. But you have to constantly better yourself and know that if you're not, then your twin or triplet or whomever out there, they are, which means that they may they may be getting the role over you, because you are just not there yet. So, this industry is a fight. You got to have the heart for it. You have got to be hungry for it. And you got to put in the time, you know, for those actors and models who are in the industry right now, and they're with agencies, but they feel like they're not going anywhere. Well, exactly that, make sure that you're doing the right things for yourself. If you're an actor and you're putting yourself on tape in your house, does it look professional quality? I just did on our new website, there's a page and it's self-taping gear on there. And I did it dedicated to all those actors out there who are, at home doing those auditions. If it's a major audition, get with an acting coach, break down that character because maybe you're missing something. Like we're not believing the body language. And here's the thing about acting. 50% is the body language, 50% is, the vocal. So if, 50% isn't working, but the other 50 is, we're not buying that character. So, working with a coach who can help you break that down for like an hour, before you put yourself on tape, it's something that's really, really helpful. Do it. That's where spending the money, because if it's a huge audition that's going to change your life, well, hey, but it's a lot of this industry is what you put into it. So, it means making really good choices for yourself. That's something that's super, super important. The other thing, like I said, is your equipment. Your equipment really makes a difference. Is your lighting good? Is your sound good? There's nothing like worse than when casting gets an audition and the sound is really, really bad or the lighting is really bad. Careful of those ring lights, because a lot of times they blow out. And what I mean by blow out, it's all white and cloudy, but they blow out your performance. So, you want to use something a little bit different. And like I said, I have a whole list of gear on our website. I pulled from beginners to professionals, like a whole array of different equipment for people to look at. There's Amazon prices on there. There's Newegg also, which is another company that sells that. You can compare. They're pretty much the same prices, maybe like $1 or a couple cents difference. But I did it on purpose, because it's important that you have the right things to represent yourself, as a professional. So if you are not representing yourself as a professional, how is an agency supposed to represent you? They don't want to, because at the end of the day, you're representing yourself, but you're representing them as well. So it's really important that you do the right things for yourself. There's a definite how to, professionally put yourself on tape as an actor. I do have a video that's coming on that. So if you have any question about that, you can go and check that out on our website. If you are looking to become a model, so modeling is really specific. It's a look, it's a height, it's measurements. And one of the reasons of that is that a lot of these auditions that clients do, they are looking for a sample size because that's who's going, what somebody's going to wear in the actual print job or commercial. So, when somebody's like, well, I don't fit that, but I'm going to change the industry. That's great. But you need to then get with all those clients and get them to change their mind, because the industry is really made by them. They're the ones that say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need. And then they go to the agents and say, hey, I need this. And then the agents, of course, send out, who they think fits that. Now, for an agent, it's really important for them to always send what the client is looking for, because just like any other industry, if an agency sends out the wrong thing to a client, do you think a client's going to come back and say, oh yeah, thanks, but what else do you have? No, a client's going to say, thanks for sending. We don't think you're on the same page as us and you understand what it is that we're looking for, so we're going to go with somebody else. And then the agent just lost that client, which is why the modeling industry is very specific. Agents only take who they're looking for and who they think is right for their clients, which means that, yep, you've got to be a certain height, you've got to be certain measurements, and you have to have a certain look. Okay. Again, agents are supposed to know exactly what their clients are looking for. So, those are the people that they're taking. So unfortunately, if you're 5'2" and looking to be a model, could you do commercial print? Absolutely. That's a print job that comes with a commercial. You'll see it on a billboard, maybe you see it in a magazine. But are you going to walk a runway? No, you're not. Are you going to, do a print job for Macy's or for H&M? You're not. Because there's a minimal height that they're looking for those clothes. The length of those clothes are a certain length. Their measurements are a certain length. And even if you come off as looking, taller than what you are, in your pictures, then, that's awesome for you. But, again, you're not going to fit the clothing in the way that the client is looking for. So they can't use you for that, unfortunately. Which is why the modeling industry is so specific, and that brings me to another topic as well that I see with a lot of actors and models, and something that I definitely cover in my classes: skin. Okay. When you're working on camera, skin is part of your audition. So, it's really important to make sure that your skin is taken care of. For guys, I can't say it enough. Chapstick, Vaseline for those lips, moisturizer, lotion, you know, um, it's part of your audition, your skin. If your skin is all broken out, we get teenagers, they have sometimes some rough skin issues. It's really, really important that you take care of your skin and, that you have it camera ready. We know that, every day it doesn't exactly look camera ready. If you need to, even as a guy, invest in maybe a little cover up that we can't see. But, it's really, really important. If you've got bags, huge bags under your eyes, that's not going to go over well for your audition. And you're not going to be camera ready. I mean, trust me, we've all been there. Rough skin, bags under eyes. I know. I travel vlogs, so I can't say that I don't have bags under my eyes sometimes when we've been traveling. But you've got to do your best, because when you're on camera, we see everything. There's no hiding anything. So that's really, really important. All right. Any parents out there with young kids looking to get into the industry? Questions? Anybody? Anybody have questions for me? So if you're a parent and you are looking to get your child into the industry, again, it's a business. So that's the first thing to know. And whenever a child, they're going to be working with clients. So they've got to learn how to handle themselves. The thing about kids, especially little kids, is they're like little sponges. So they absorb everything so fast. So when you ask them to give it back, it's amazing how on point and how little unprofessional they are. 19, would love to know, okay, sure. And specifics, Carissa, specifics to you just about classes and stuff like that. If you email me at info@thestarmovement.com, and just FYI, we just moved our server over. So hopefully it doesn't bounce back at you. I tested it earlier and it bounced back at me. But if not, send me a message and your email, whether it's on Instagram or on our Facebook page, and I can grab your email from it and then send you an email breakdown about, what we do, our pricing and stuff like that as well. But, for kids, I mean, if you're over 18, it's different because then they're considered an adult. But for anybody, even under 18, whenever you do a job, the job is going to be in the kid's name. So if they're under 18, modeling specific, okay. And again, going back to, if you caught what I said earlier about modeling, it is really specific what we look for. If somebody is interested in acting as well, like if they're interested in modeling, you definitely want to consider acting as well, especially in the state of Florida, because in Florida, we do so much commercial work here, especially in Orlando and in Miami. If you're not in Florida, we kind of want to look at what market you're near and stuff like that. But I tend to try to work towards the bigger markets. So Orlando, Miami, Atlanta. Atlanta's the biggest right now as far as film and TV goes. New York, LA, and then there's Chicago as well. But these markets, I'll focus on Florida right now. Florida, this is their busy time. We're in season. It's beautiful weather outside most days, but they're getting pretty light, blue skies, very little rain. So, whereas up north has got yucky weather. So that's why Florida is in season right now. And our season goes basically until our rainy season starts. Usually, like around Memorial Day is when things kind of cut out in Florida. And then they'll pick back up in the fall when we're usually somewhat clear. These days, it doesn't seem like we're ever clear of hurricane season, but clients sometimes do wait because they don't want things to get ruined, especially because Florida is a locations market. A lot of these clients that come to Florida to work, they don't live here. They came from other places. So when they're coming and spending some serious money here, they want to make sure that, they can actually do their shoot. But yeah, that's why Florida right now is busy. But no matter what age, if you're under 18, if you're over 18, whoever the job is, they're who is getting paid on it. Now, in my courses that I have on our website, I have about the business. The first course that I have on there, and if you're a parent who's looking to get your child into the business, I would say, watch that course because I go over contracts. I go over what should be in a contract, what shouldn't be in a contract, agency protocol, how it all works, and then, releases, unions. So those are the things that are really, really important that you really need to know about the business. So, you definitely want to watch that. The second one that I do is about materials. What do you need, to conduct yourself in the business? But again, if you want to be a model, in this industry, you want to definitely consider acting as well and be open to it because there is so much work. And sometimes agencies, if you don't fit what an agency is looking for, they may look at you commercially or for film and TV. So, you want to keep those doors open and, you want to look at being available for those types of jobs as well. You don't want to, sell yourself short. Like I said, in Florida, because we do so many commercials, you definitely, as a model, get some commercial training. As kids, most agencies won't take young kids unless, they have some acting training as well to go ahead and be able to play them as both an actor and a model. For someone 19, depending on their look, and I'm always honest with people, I don't want to see people spending money on things that they shouldn't. If I know that an agency is going to feel like, okay, their look is not strong enough, or, you can go through development all you want, you could be the best mover. But if you're not what an agency is looking for, you need to find a different path. And I like lights at the end of the tunnel. I will always direct to somebody to where, they're going to be able to actually make a career out of something. There's nothing that frustrates me more in the industry, than, someone giving really bad advice and telling somebody, oh yeah, you could be, a runway model or fashion model when they're never going to be, because an agency is never going to work with their height, so there's nothing in the industry that kind of frustrates me more than that. So I will always be honest with people, and I'm not going to ever tell somebody what they want to hear. I'm going to tell them the truth. Because at the end of the day, it's not worth it. I've been in this industry since I was 3 years old. I'm 45 now. And it's really important to me that people get the right information. And again, that's so much of why I once upon a time started, the StarMovement, to make sure that people were getting the right information. And that brings me to, another area. If you are working with an agent, again, I kind of touched on this earlier. Those relationships, you've got to keep those relationships warm. I've done showcases where I've had, models and talent that They had all these callbacks and people who were interested in working with them, and talent kind of dropped the ball. They didn't follow up with them. And now, after so long, they're looking for representation. Meanwhile, they could have started with those agencies, gotten themselves developed, gotten some work under their belt, and then gone after some of the maybe bigger agencies if it wasn't 100% who they wanted to work with. You got to start somewhere. And sometimes, the sky can be the limit, but at the same time, you know, again, most people don't go from 0 to 90 in this industry. So you've got to start somewhere. And again, you got to start building your resume. As a model, you've got to start building your model book. As a model, you're going to get compared to your lookalikes, and also what jobs have they done out there. So, whenever somebody starts as a model in a true fashion market like Miami, New York, or LA, because those are the true model markets, you're going to start in development. You're going to be a new face for them, which means that they are trying to get you developed. And that can take a while. So that can take years to get your book somewhat ready, which means that you've done the jobs, you have the experience, you move in a way that your lookalikes do, which again doesn't mean that somebody won't take a chance on a newbie. They do, it happens all the time. But at the same time, yeah, you're going up against a lot of people. This is a really, really competitive industry. And again, everything is really, really specific. More so probably in the modeling industry than anything else. It is based on, again, a height, a look, measurements. So, with that said, and then what type of model are you? The markets that I listed, Miami, LA, and New York, they're all different markets and they look for different things. They have different clients. So, when it comes to specifics, like, you've got to know who you are. And not only that, but you've got to have the book to back it up, to show what type of model you are so that you can work with those agencies and then in return work with their clients. So that's a bit, about, the modeling industry. But like I said, if you don't know the first thing about the business, I can't reiterate it enough because it's probably the most important thing that I put out there into the world. And that is just learning about the business so that you at least know where the finish line is, but the specifics for yourself, so someone's not going to pull like the wool over your eyes and say, hey, you need this when you really don't need it. Because unfortunately in this industry, you do see that a lot is people say, well, you need to pay for this and pay for that. No, you may not need to. Some things, yes, like I said, you are responsible for your own materials. But again, you want to make sure with doing that you're getting the right materials. I see all these groups out there on Facebook and stuff like that of saying, hey, I shoot models and I shoot headshots. But again, do they know specifically, what types of shots that they're shooting? Are they film and TV looks? Are they going to be okay for the LA market or the Atlanta market or the New York market? Orlando most of the time is a little bit more open to things than some of these other markets are. But another agency somewhere may tell you to redo it because it's not what they're looking for. You've got to know the difference between a commercial headshot versus a film and TV type of headshot. Absolutely, really important. So thanks for joining. I hope, it's been helpful for you. And yeah, send me an email and I can follow up with you specifically. But again, as far as things go, and industry things go, you've got to make sure that they're the right materials and that you're working with the right people. This is an industry where people love to do a lot of this. And, a lot of times it may not be the right information for you. And that could be really, really hurtful for you because you just went and spent your, paycheck on something and it wasn't right for you. And then at the end of the day, you don't have the funds to go and spend on the right things. So that's where this industry becomes tricky. And trust is really, really important. And, like I said, my biggest thing for everyone out there and everyone that I work with is just being honest with people. And, just making sure that you're getting the right information. That's so much of, of the reason that, I started the Star Movement, because I wanted people to be successful. I wanted people to have the right information, because with the right information, you know where the finish line is and you know where you're trying to get to. So, that's the biggest thing. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. But I enjoy giving people information. I enjoy helping people. So yeah, I will have more of these coming up. We're also looking to do some memberships where I spend time, with people who are members, and really one-on-one, help them and guiding them, and helping them get to the next level. But, I hope this has been helpful for you. Does anyone else have any other questions for me today? Um, like I said, I do really enjoy doing this. And, it's important to me, because I live and breathe the industry. I've been in it forever. But it's important to me that people have the right information, again, so that they can be successful. So that's what's most important. If you haven't, been to our website, make sure you check it out. I'm going to put it right here, thestarmovement.com. Yep, spelled properly. That's our website. Go to it. There's a lot of really useful stuff on it. And if you need some help, send me an email. And, I will always respond. Hopefully our email is back up and working on our new server. If not, like I said, message me on Instagram or message me on Facebook. And I will definitely, get back with you. So it's always really important to me that people get the right information. So again, I hope this was helpful. I will be doing more of these. And if you missed part of this, it will be in our feed. So definitely take a look, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.